I love how ambitious this book's title is. Sadly, it's not the scariest book ever. It's a story about the scariest book ever. R.L. Stine purposely avoids giving any details about the scariest book, beyond the fact that it's evil and bad things happen if someone reads it. So it's either the Necronomicon or Goosebumps number 7, Night of the Living Dummy.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
Our narrator is 12-year-old Billy Arnold. He and his twin sister Betty are going to spend 2 weeks with Uncle Wendell. The problem is that Uncle Wendell is a reclusive weirdo they've never met before. Mom and Dad are late for a flight, so they dump the kids at a sinister mansion, saying, "This is probably the right place." Thanks, Mom and Dad. If this is the wrong place, your kids are going to die. The kids and their dog panic as they search the empty mansion. They find Uncle Wendell, who looks like a wild lumberjack. A grown woman is working with Wendell. He says it's their cousin Jessie, who they've never heard of before. Seems legit. Billy is caught in a mousetrap, and Uncle Wendell says he keeps the scariest book ever locked up in his basement. Somebody recently stole it. To get it back, they'll have to go through the Wayward forest, which is filled with scary things like cannibal crows, your mom, and the giant worm from Go Eat Worms. As Betty and Billy debate what to do, they get a glimpse of their first monster, Man-Bat. Not the Batman villain, it's the creature on the cover of the book. It's got a bat body and a human head. It warns them to go away, but as Jessie says, they don't take orders from bats. Then again, Jessie doesn't go with the others when they explore the forest. She stays behind in the house. That's probably the safest thing for her to do. But what happened to not listening to bats, Jessie? In the forest, they see cannibal crows. Those are giant crows that kill and eat each other the moment they hatch from their eggs. I have no idea how the species survives when only one kid out of 7 lives for more than 5 minutes. Next are flying tree bears, which can't actually fly. It looks like they fly when they jump out of trees. So they're territorial creatures that occasionally climb trees? That sounds like normal bears to me. One of them almost kills Billy, but he's saved by Uncle Wendell. The next monster Billy encounters is a moving tree root, which is actually a snake that grows 2 extra heads. The book doesn't call it a hydra, but I'm calling it a hydra. Betty saves Billy's life, but in all the commotion, they lose track of Uncle Wendell. They hear Uncle Wendell scream and find his machete stabbed into the ground. The name of the chapter was Stabbed. That tricked me into thinking one of the kids would be stabbed. Speaking of which, this is the first Goosebumps series to have titles for every chapter. I guess that's cool. It seems a little silly to do that when a chapter is 2 pages long, but it's nice to try something new. Billy tries using his phone, but there's no signal. You're telling me a pair of 12-year-olds on vacation went a full day without noticing their cell phones don't get any service? That's the least believable part of the book. The light from the phone agitates the man-bats. One of them gets stuck in Betty's hair. The kids try to run away, but they fall in the quicksand. Luckily, the quicksand is only 3 feet deep, so they're able to escape. When they finally make it back to the house, they find a man trapped in the shed. He says he's the real Uncle Wendell. The impostor they met is a man named the Bookworm, which is also the name of a Batman villain. Bookworm was trying to get the kids killed by forest monsters. Uncle Wendell says he hid the scariest book ever in plain sight by putting it among his kitchen cookbooks. The Bookworm and Jessie appear with a flamethrower. They threaten to kill the kids if Uncle Wendell doesn't hand over the book. The villains escape with the book, but Uncle Wendell reveals it was all a trick. The real book is in a hidden safe in the basement. The Bookworm and Jessie return, They only pretended to leave as a trick to find the real book. But Uncle Wendell must have predicted this double trick because he reveals it was all a triple trick. The safe was empty the whole time. The bookworm locks them in the safe. Uncle Wendell says being captured was also a trick. He built a secret escape tunnel inside the safe. So that's what, 5 different double cross tricks in a row? I'm having trouble keeping track of this. Uncle Wendell takes the kids into the forest. He says he hid the scariest book ever inside a cave, guarded by locusts the size of houses. Sort of like a shocker on Shock Street. The locusts eat worms off of the twins. They get the book when a stranger appears. He says he's the real Uncle Wendell. So there's another impostor? This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. Luckily, it's easy to identify the impostor since he doesn't know Betty's real name. The impostor steals the book and tries to escape. Billy sneezes at the perfect moment to get the attention of the flying tree bears. The bears attack the impostor, and Uncle Wendell gets the scariest book back. Our heroes celebrate their victory, and I have to give this the Best Drop Subplot Award, because they all forgot the bookworm is still in the house with Jesse and the flamethrower. You shouldn't celebrate when there are 2 more villains on the loose. The end of book twist is that Uncle Wendell hides the scariest book ever in Billy's suitcase, because no one will think of looking for it there. Billy wonders if he should read it. The end. Post-book follow-up? I thought this book was good. I think the series of strange monsters in the forest could have been better and more creative, but I enjoyed the constant double crossing in the second and third parts. The book is 150 pages, which is a bit more than the usual 100 to 120 pages of the original Goosebumps series. If you cut out part 3 with the third Uncle Wendell, then it wouldn't be out of place in the original series. I think that's exactly what fans are looking for. It's a new and different series, but not too different. In Chapter 4, Uncle Wendell talks about a bear that died 80 years ago. Every year, on the blue harvest moon, it comes back to life and dances. I kept expecting the book would come back to that story, but no, it was a weird 1-chapter interlude that has nothing to do with anything. Speaking of bears, if the bookworm wanted to kill Billy all along, why did he save Billy from the flying tree bears? That's definitely a case of the culprit foiling their own plot. Overall, I'd call it a good start to a new series, although I didn't read the previous series, so maybe I'm not the best judge. It may not be the scariest book ever, but if the rest of the series is as frightening and twisted as this one, we're in good hands. I give Goosebumps House of Shivers #1 scariest book ever. 8 man-bats out of 10. You probably noticed this is a double-length review. That's because I asked an AI to write a review of the book for me, one with plenty of jokes. Here is the AI-generated review. Argle-Fump Book Review! Argle-Fump Book Review! So, we've got a couple of adventurous twins, Billy and Betty, who are about to embark on a vacation that's either going to be the best summer of their lives or the plot of a horror movie. They're off to visit Uncle Wendell in the Wayward forest. Sounds ominous already, right? Uncle Wendell is this mysterious dude with a spiky black beard. You know, the kind of guy who's a solid contender for most likely to own a secret lair. But wait, there's a catch. Uncle Wendell is missing when they arrive. Maybe he's out shopping for more beard oil? Before they can even ask where he's at, he drops the bombshell that the scariest book in the world has gone missing. Talk about bad timing. But hey, they can't chat about it now. Off to their room, kids! Now hold on to your hats because things get weird. First, they have to banish their dog Bellamy to the backyard because he's a potential wrecking ball inside. Then, surprise! Uncle Wendell's got a secret daughter named Jessie, and nobody thought it was worth mentioning. Our fearless guide, Uncle Wendell, explains the Wayward forest. It's like his own private theme park, except it's not for fun. Nope, it's a wilderness filled with strange creatures. Why? Because Wendell's theory is that lack of human interference let these creatures evolve into the weirdos they are. Darwin would be proud. In the basement, Uncle Wendell reveals the stolen book. It's so scary that he's too chicken to talk about its contents. He swears if that book is opened, evil will be unleashed upon the world. Nifty, right? But wait, the plot thickens. Someone has swiped the book, and now it's up to these kids to waltz into the Wayward Forest to hunt down the thief, even if it kills them. Seriously, Uncle Wendell, you're not inspiring confidence here. Oh, and just to add a sprinkle of weirdness, a man-bat swoops in. Jesse says, "Don't listen to it." Solid advice, but it's not like the man-bat is handing out investment tips. Morning comes and the trio sets out on their adventure. But hold on to your hiking boots. Uncle Wendell's shed has some secret dangerous critters that he caught. Probably as party favors for his annual Weirdest Creatures party. The plot thickens even further when they stumble upon rocks that turn out to be eggs. And what hatches? Giant cannibal crows. Yeah, you heard that right. Cannibal crows. These birds aren't just having a little snack, they're eating each other for breakfast. Next up, a giant flying tree bear, because why not? Billy sneezes, startles the bear, and all hell breaks loose. Wendell's advice? Just stare it down and show no fear. Easier said than done when you're face to face with a creature that's part bear, part Tarzan. But wait, there's more! A two-headed snake makes an appearance. Betty saves the day, but Uncle Wendell goes MIA, and all they find is a machete stabbed into the ground. I'm not saying it's ominous, but it's definitely ominous. They try to call for help, but no service in the Wayward Forest, so they rely on the trusty flashlight on their phones, because every horror movie has one moment where the flashlight dies, right? But wait, there's a man-bat encore! This time, it's extra batty! Moths are attracted to the light, chaos ensues, and they end up in quicksand. Thankfully, it's not deep, but it's like the Wayward Forest heard their screams and said, "Hold my trees." They finally make it back to the house where they hear human shouts from the shed. It's like a horror casserole. But nope, it's not Uncle Wendell. It's an impostor named the Bookworm. Dude doesn't read books. He just steals them. Plot twist! They move inside the house, and it's time for some book showdown. Wendell reveals the hidden book among his dessert cookbooks. I mean, who would suspect a scary book among dessert recipes, right? The Bookworm and Jesse threaten to torch the book collection unless they hand over the scariest book ever. Wendell gives in, but claims it's a fake. Classic misdirection, folks. Down in the basement under the basement, because why not have a secret basement? Wendell has hidden the real deal. The Bookworm crashes the party, and things get intense. Wendell is forced to open the safe, and guess what? It's empty! He pulls a twist and claims the scariest book ever doesn't even exist. He just made it up for his collection to be famous. Smooth move, Uncle Wendell. But surprise, surprise, the Bookworm isn't buying it. Now they're locked in a safe, because apparently this forest comes with its very own escape room experience. Thankfully, Wendell has a key, and they make their grand escape. They hide behind a mound of dirt, which turns out to be a big lump of worms. I guess in the Wayward Forest, even the dirt gets weird. They manage to evade capture and reach a cave known as the Cave of the Locusts. Inside, they wake up a giant locust that has evolved to be the size of a minivan. No, seriously. But instead of attacking, it just chows down on a stray worm. Maybe it's on a low-carb diet? Another locust shows up, and they decide to play tug-of-war with the last worm. It's like a creepy bug wrestling match. Good times in the Wayward Forest. But wait, there's more! Wendell goes missing, again. Enter a thin man in a green baseball cap, claiming to be Uncle Wendell. Plot twist number 437. Arglefump out!